beautiful Chosen girls. I'm so excited for this podcast for this month. I've been very excited about this topic, and I can't wait to share some information with you and have my dear friend Sarah here that I'm going to introduce in just a minute. But thank you for joining us. And we're going to have two parts to this. Actually, we could have a lot of parts because there's a lot of great information about how food is medicine, okay? So I'm very honored to have here with me today Sarah Treat. Her and her husband are amazing, and they own a wonderful store here. It's called Local Health Market here in San Antonio. And they have nutritionist design meals. In fact, I get meals from there, and salads every week, and they're amazing. And supplements, smoothies, and nutrition coaching. And I have also met with Sarah myself on nutrition coaching to make sure that I'm eating properly and doing what I need to do to stay healthy. Because you know what? I want to live a long life. And I want all of my girls, my chosen girls, to live an amazing life. Because God said He came to give you life and life more abundantly. Now that's in every area of your life. And definitely in your health. You want to live an abundant life and be healthy and live every day that God's given you. And don't let the sickness or disease take one of those days from you, because you're just not using wisdom and making good decisions. So that's why we're here today. And I want her to just share a little bit so that you'll know why she started, what started all this. First of all, she does have a master's degree, by the way, right, Sarah? And nutrition, yep. And so she helps a lot of people, certified nutritionists. But tell the audience, our ladies, what started you on this journey?
So I grew up, I'm from the Midwest. I grew up with a single mom. I grew up at McDonald's. I lived by a 7-Eleven. You know, we didn't have a lot of time. We didn't know a lot about nutrition. You know, you fast forward my early 20s, I get diagnosed with 2 autoimmune disorders. I thought my life was over because I went from an energy level of 10 and, you know, being an athlete and doing all these things to 0. I will say too, there was some spiritual things going on, broken heart, you know, didn't know God. So that was a big part of my healing journey. But I met a functional medicine doctor 2 years into going to all these doctors to figure out what was wrong with me. And he helped me with my nutrition. He helped get my gut healthy. And he told me that I needed to work on my stress. And bada bing, I was sold. I did what he told me to do because I was desperate, I was miserable, and I started cooking in my little apartment. I didn't know how to cook, but I just started, and it worked, and I've learned a lot of things along the way. You know, changed my career path from physical therapy to nutrition, and here we are. Always wanted to have a store where people can come in and connect, and even somehow we've made it through the pandemic and after the pandemic to, you know, have that clientele. And so that's how I'm here. And I've worked with over 2,000 clients for nutrition coaching. And we have helped people anywhere from need to lose a little bit of weight to I'm on 15 medicines and I have 5 chronic conditions and I, you know, need to transform my health. So we do it all.
I love that. And I know personally people that we have sent to Sarah that she has helped so much. And you made a really important thing there a statement there where you said, you know, I met with this person, they started telling me, and I took the steps to do it. And that is key. And Sarah and I have talked about that because you can go in and you can read a book, or you can go in and visit Sarah, or you can
pay and make an appointment, but you have to do the work.
You have to do the work, and it is work.
It is work.
And it's hard work, but it's worth it to live that life that God wants you to live and to be healthy and not sick at the doctor all the time.
Well, your health is your foundation. Your career, your relationships, your longevity, it's all about your health. And as a culture, we wait to get sick. It's like we get our careers going, get our families going, and we get all these responsibilities and we neglect our health. And we can get away with it, most people, for a certain amount of time, and it shows up. And then we want a quick fix, and we want to go like that and be healthy. And it's cultural.
It is culture. You're
Yeah.
right. And you're right. We do want a quick fix. And we can go years. I think one of the things definitely, I think for my husband and I, which made us want to be healthy, is we saw our parents. And we both looked and went, if we stay on the path we're on, we're going to end up where they are. And we didn't want to be that way. I mean, you know, we wanted to be healthier, because we were thinking, boy, they could be living a so much better life, and it will catch up with you eventually. And so that kind of definitely spurred us on to want to do it different, have a different lifestyle, and it is a lifestyle.
More proactive.
More proactive, definitely, and to be proactive. So anyway, thank you for being here.
Sure.
And sharing, and there's lots of great information to share with you. And you know, I want to start out, you know, the other thing that I think brought me to this point was talking to Sarah too, is because it's something you're hearing a lot about now, because of the MAHA, Make America Healthy Again movement that's out there. And I don't know why it's controversy, because what is wrong with making America healthy again? This is not a Democrat thing, it's not a Republican thing, it's about your life, and it's about your health. And it's not a political thing, it's about being healthy and starting with our kids, because let's start with our kids. Maybe, hey, you know, you're going to make changes in your lifestyle, girls, now as you learn things, but start with your kids now so they'll be ahead of the game.
Absolutely.
Right? And let's start there. So I just want to point that out, because it's not a political thing. It's about us staying. We talked about that a little bit. You know, it is not that. This is not about any of that. We're not going either way. We just want to say, let's be healthy and live a long, healthy life. So, you know, that's what it's all about. I do want to point out, when we're talking about what our nation is doing, and about RFK and the things that he's doing, is even in our own state, our Attorney General, Ken Paxton, again, we're not saying we love Ken Paxton or not, we're saying what he's doing is great, because he is actually taking action against General Mills and Kellogg's, and he is doing this investigation into them about them breaking the law, a Texas law, in a violation of putting petroleum and things in kids' food that they shouldn't. And I commend him for that, and I'm grateful for that. And also about red dye number 3. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But let's talk about the state of health in America, because you've got some great stats that our ladies need to hear, because we do spend a lot of money in our country on healthcare. And you would think that since we spend a lot of money on healthcare,
We'd be healthy.
We should be healthy. That we would all be healthy, right? You would think so.
So we spend more on healthcare than any other developed nation. The U.S. spends an average of $13,000 per person, and it's more sick care. We are, you know, healthcare is reactionary medicine. It's not prevention. Insurance rarely, if it doesn't cover what I do, it rarely covers nutrition therapy, functional testing, wellness coaching, despite the proven impact. But here's what's staggering, is that we basically stink at our health. We are 29th in life expectancy, so despite the fact that we spend all this money, so think about each person spending over $1,000 a month on reactive sick care. Wow. That's a problem. And we don't see it because we think, oh, it's insurance, it's covered, but we're all paying.
Right.
We're paying. The premiums are higher. There's you're paying co-pays, bills, like you get bills later, right? It never ends. And so it's expensive to be sick.
And you could be spending that $1,000 on staying healthy and being healthy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And over 60% of adult Americans have at least one chronic disease. 88% of Americans are metabolically unhealthy. So there's something going on with prediabetes, heart disease, it's thyroid. That's basically 9 out of 10. And if you honestly look around, about 1 out of 10 adults look healthy.
True.
It is.
Yeah.
And think about how that affects our nation. So if you if you're not healthy, are you energetic?
No.
Is your mind working
Clear.
well? Are you productive? Are you efficient with your time? Are you sleeping okay? So that's a huge issue. And so how much better could we be? How much more innovative could we be? How much more, if our children were healthier in school, what would that do for their future? How many people are we losing that could be scientists and engineers because they're stuck in their metabolic issues? Like, there's kids with diabetes, there's kids with heart disease. Like, it's absolutely out of control. It's not okay.
No.
I feel what I do is very rogue. Like, I'm kind of against a machine, and there are times I feel very undervalued even with my work or what I get compensated for, because I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
Right? But does nutrition have more impact on your health than anything?
Yes, it
Would
does.
you all agree that it
Food
does?
is medicine. Yes, it does.
So that's why we're here.
Yes, and that's why we're here. And it is so sad, like you said, you brought out that point about insurance will pay for you to get medicine and big pharma and pay for your medications, but they won't pay for you to get nutrition, to go to someone like you or other places, people that they can get help from.
Coaching,
and preventive. It's like they want you to get sick, so then they're just funneling the machine.
Well, if 4.5 trillion a year, what would happen
crazy.
if we all decided to get healthy? What would that do to our economy? It would tank.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be, but there would other things, amazing things could come about.
Sure.
Of course. So it's we got a long way to go, but we'll talk about how we're going to get there.
Yeah, and I'm excited about that. If you're not excited yet, okay. All right. Let's talk about this broken preventive model, because like we talked about, we were just talking about, it's very profitable for big pharma. And because doctors get zero education in medical school. And it's very rare to find a doctor that you go to and that you can go to that actually will say, well, okay, I did your blood work and I see this and this. Well, why don't you try this supplement? Maybe, you're deficient in this. And I love that about when I came to you, because we did my blood work, and then you can look and say, well, here's some supplements, here's some things you can eat, here's some things that you can do to help that, because a normal doctor just gives you immediately a medication, and then that medication has a side effect. And then you have to take another medication to come against that side effects. But it's just like, it's very rare to find a doctor that'll actually, because they go by the book, and the book does not, again, show them or teach them that, hey, you can do things to be healthy and take supplements or eat proper foods and eat properly.
And exercise.
Thank you. Yeah.
So it goes back a long way. Number one, less than 3 hours is nutrition or health that is taught in medical school. So, medical school
Isn't that great?
is
Take
not
care of people.
Well, it's not health and prevention. It's diagnosis. Right?
They're treating a symptom.
Yes, and
not the root.
And
right?
they're very good. They've been trained very well. And
we're not here criticizing.
No, we're not. We want to collaborate.
Yes,
but
collaborate.
It's very difficult to find a doctor that doesn't want you on medicine, and if you find that, you found a good doctor.
That's true.
But the problem is they get about 3 to 5 minutes. What are you going to do in 3 to 5 minutes with somebody? You see a doctor once a year. A physical, maybe you get 10 minutes with that doctor. So there's just not enough time. They're not taught that, and then it's not profitable.
No,
and
it's not.
So there you go.
Yeah, because wellness isn't reimbursed. It's seen as a luxury. They want to give you a pill, not tell you eat a salad or walk your dog, and like you said, get exercise. I like this quote: "We're not over-medicated. We're undernourished and over-processed."
Well, we don't have a calorie problem, right? We have a nutrition deficiency.
Yeah.
We don't get enough of the right foods.
Right.
And the other piece of this is, if you really look at biology and chemistry and biochemistry, your cell is so much about nutrition. Like, so it's right there. We have to have certain nutrients for your cells to work, and we have to have certain nutrients for your cell to create energy. So why aren't we looking at the nutrients? So traditional medical practice is nutrition is mainly about calories and controlling calories, and it is important. It's very important, but that's too macro. We're not looking at the micro. We're not looking at the vitamins and minerals in food, how that changes your body chemistry, and how the foods, we're going to talk about these toxic foods that change your biochemistry at the cellular level to the point where your hormones just don't work. And then we've got all these people in their 40s and 50s like, give me hormones right now. They're not working. It's like, well, let's back up 20 years.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so we want to, and when you really study biochemistry, it's like, well, why isn't that taught in medical school? Like how all of these little chemical reactions are all vitamins and minerals. Well, where does that come from? Where do vitamins and minerals come from?
The ground.
The earth.
The earth.
The dirt.
The dirt.
And the animals that eat
Yeah.
those foods.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I know we were talking about how stop looking at calories. Not that, like you said, it's important, but look at ingredients.
Yeah.
What is in what you're eating,
Yeah.
right? And what you're taking, right?
Yeah. And maximize those calories with nutrient-filled foods.
Yes, because we're in America ultra processed and chemicals foods and all the different things that it causes in our in our bodies and in our kids' bodies too. Hyperactivity and asthma and autoimmune disease, which you were having autoimmune, and so many people that I come in contact with that we pray for are suffering with these kinds of things.
I honestly think too my autoimmune had a lot to do with I came into we all have genetics, right?
Of course.
I'm sensitive,
Yeah.
I definitely, my dad had Crohn's, very serious case of it. So I was on a lot of antibiotics growing up.
Okay.
I was on a lot of antibiotics. I was, and another thing that I think took me over the edge is just like over medicating. I had a bad reaction to Accutane. Like my body just couldn't handle it, and it just threw it off.
Wow. Well, let's talk about what we have available in America. About our fast, cheap food that's killing us. Because again, one of the things that RFK is in there and has done is already banned red food dye. Now, all these food dyes, they're being progressive. Do I wish they would cut them off immediately? Yes, but they're giving these companies time and certain amount of times to get this stuff out of our foods. And let me just tell you this too, in case you don't know this, in Europe, and we talked about this, in Europe and in other countries, this stuff isn't in their food. They don't let it in their food. So they don't have to have it in your food. They don't have to have it in your cereal. They don't have to have it in all the stuff that they have it in, bread and crackers and everything else, and yogurt. And in other countries, they don't have it. So they make it without it. And in other countries, they don't allow it. But America's, oh yes, and we're just putting it in there. So... yeah.
So let's talk about what are these things.
Yeah.
So
there's
chemicals,
our ladies to know.
dyes.
Yeah. Yes.
Dyes. There's GMO foods. So a GMO food is a food that can withstand Roundup and still live. So think about spraying Roundup in your yard. Well, everything dies. Well, so we have foods. And so ironically, these foods are subsidized. So they're super cheap. Well, the wheat in America is not the wheat in Europe. That's why people, when they travel, I'm sure they're less stressed and they're walking more, but when they go to Europe, they're like, wow, like I just digested better. I felt different. So we've got the GMOs, we've got the dyes, and then we've got the oils. Okay, we've got the seed oils. That's one thing that's really unique about our store is that we're seed oil free, which you'll never find a restaurant really anywhere, even food prep that's going to be seed oil free. So things like canola and soybean oil, they're disrupting the chemistry of our cells. So there's like a lot of things, and then we're not even going to discuss sugar, and that's a GMO food. It's super toxic. It's super addictive. We consume way too much, and so you just have these 4 things that are just these cocktails. And think about like Doritos or I mean, it's all of the 4 in one. And so, hey, it's fine on occasion.
Sure,
Okay?
no.
And even with kids, like, get that stuff at a gas station for fun on a weekend. Don't buy it.
Yeah. And it be this consistent thing that's all they're having. I don't know if you saw this, or who doesn't love Oreos, right? My husband sent me this, this little, I don't know where he got it, maybe TikTok, but they were showing how they had a blowtorch, and they were trying to burn an Oreo, and it would not burn.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
That's sad. Okay. Now, I know people were like, I was telling people that, like, oh no, that was AI. Okay, I looked it up. I mean, I saw multiple examples.
You should try it.
Go out and try it, ladies. Get a blowtorch and put an Oreo in there and see. It burned the wood, but not the Oreo. But
hydrogenated oils.
Yeah, so it was pretty sad, but you just don't know, right? And then the other thing is the stuff that they're putting in the food, like the chemicals, makes you addictive and want them, right? They're like, well, I want these chips, so I've got to have these chips. It's like, well, what is in that that's making you like, and because they are doing that, crave it. They're putting there, and the sugar, like you're talking about with the sugar, but all these foods, all these chemicals, the GMO and all that stuff, the food dyes, again, are banned in Europe, but they can have them here. And, so yeah, that's good that you told about the seed oils. Just make sure the ladies hear things to look for on the back when they're looking at ingredients. Tell them, again, some of the things just to look for on the back when they're looking at ingredients to stay away from.
Soybean oil, canola oil for sure, and that's on all grocery aisles, even unfortunately like Whole Foods. Just you have to really watch your oils and your fats. That's important. And honestly, I know we might be jumping ahead, but the more the more natural, the more we go to just real food, you're just going to naturally be avoiding those things. But you want to look at the type of oil that they have in there, and you definitely want to see if there's the dyes. Those are not the best. And
when it says artificial food dye or any kind of artificial flavoring or those are the things, artificial, any of those things you want to stay away from for sure.
And in England, Kraft macaroni and cheese is different wheat and no yellow dye. They don't allow that over there. So
but our Kraft macaroni and cheese here, they do. That's crazy, right? I know. I saw this thing about even French fries. Okay, who doesn't love McDonald's French fries? And you're going, oh, I don't want to hear that. Da 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 da. In America, if you look at what's in McDonald's French fries versus what's in the French fries in Europe and like in England, there's this short little like 4 things. And not that I'm going to eat McDonald's French fries. No, I love them. They're great, but I don't eat them. But I'm just saying, in Europe and in England, it's like 4 things. When in America, it's like this whole little paragraph of all this stuff. So it doesn't have to be like this.
No.
And we've got to fight against that.
Well, the best way you fight against it is you stop buying it.
Yeah, it's true. You stop buying it. And I think
you reduce it.
Yeah, and I think that now because of the MAHA movement and people becoming more aware, and we're wanting you to become more aware, and they stop buying it, that they're going to wake up and take notice. That's my hope and prayer, right? That they will actually change what's going on in our country and what they're putting in everything, the cereals and the everything else that they're, the yogurts again, peanut butter. I mean, there's you could go on and on and on, that they'll start like waking up and stop doing this because they can. They're able to do it because they're doing it.
Yeah,
so
you can buy organic Doritos, but you can't get them at certain stores. You can only get them at certain stores.
Right.
And they're Doritos. Okay, they've got calories, but they don't have
all the stuff.
Yes, they don't have the GMOs, they don't have the dyes, and
Right.
they're delicious.
Right.
They're great.
Well, we're going to stop here for right now, and we're going to come back with part 2 of the podcast. And I can't wait because we're going to talk about some things you can buy and what you can't eat and what to look for, right, Miss Sarah? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some other things about our immune system, how God made our immune system to be healthy, heal itself. And so I'm excited to get back with you next time. And I hope you all are going to just eat this up. This is good eating, okay? We're getting a treat from Sarah Treat today. This is a treat from Sarah Treat. So we're excited about the next podcast, and I'm excited about you becoming healthy, okay? And living that amazing, again, abundant life that I want my chosen girls to live. So we'll see you next time.